Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Before Our Friends Die. You are joined by me, Kavan, and Rochelle can't be with us today, but look over here. Look at the surroundings. I'm joined by Arran Kirton. How's it going?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you. How are you?
Listen, I'm amazing. Thanks for joining me. This is the akhi&saltfish Digital Network. And you reached out, right?
Yes.
And you let us know that you had a product you wanted to share and talk about.
Absolutely.
And you told me this product is going to be a game changer. It's centered around mental health and social media. And before we get into that, I want to get into you a little bit, right?
Yep.
So could you tell me a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey? You know, what's your background? What do you do? Why is this something that you've stumbled upon?
I'll give you a heads up. So I run a couple of businesses, probably going sort of 4 or 5 years now. One's a sales company, one's a tech and sort of telecoms and IT company. How this has all come about for me is that I struggle with my phone. I struggle with the usage on my phone, my screen time. Sometimes some weeks is up, sometimes it's down. I'm a family man. I've got 3 kids, run a house. I've got a dog. I've got responsibilities. I've got a couple of businesses, and things are really time critical for me. And where I've always found there being a potential issue is my balance of work and life balance. I don't really believe in work-life balance. I believe in just, it's your life full of different choices, and some days you'll prioritize certain things and sometimes you won't. Like sometimes it'll be work, sometimes it'll be family and all that sort of stuff. But there's nothing on the market in terms of product that can help you look after your time that you spend on one of these things. One of these things is your biggest sapper of time, mental health, energy. And like I said, like before we came on, we had a chat, you know, you can't get time back. So the idea was something I've been thinking about for about 12 months. I'm not the only business owner person in the UK that struggles with how much time they potentially spend on a mobile phone, whether it's not being able to lock yourself away or spending too much time on it when you're with family and stuff. And I wanted to create a product that's a tangible product you can hold that can actually make a difference and that you can make a choice to not go on your phone. And that product can then support you with looking after your time, which in theory looks after how happy you are, which is your mental health and your ability to be present in the moment. And that's the big thing for me, is I've always struggled with being present in the moment. I've always got ideas plugging around in my head, and I might be here now, and I am present in the moment with you now, I promise, hand on heart.
Thanks.
But it's about having something that helps you do that, because I think that's a massive challenge for the majority of people out there.
So when we talk about phones, and you refer to your phone as a zapper of your energy, of your presence in a room, when did you notice that? Because I'm sure there are times when your phone is a tool and a vehicle to productivity. Yeah. But what sort of the pinch points that you notice when your phone's just not doing what you want it to do for you?
Do you know what? It's more and more lately, and probably the last 2 years, because you can do a lot more on one of these things. You know, you've got so many different applications and options that you can have. I've always known that my mobile phone consumption has been probably more than most, because even going back into my 20s, before we started these businesses, working for another company, sort of from telesales up to director level for like 9 years, I was always on my phone. It was salespeople were ringing me. I'm ringing customers to do a deal. I'm speaking to suppliers. I'm speaking to staff. I'm speaking to my partner at home at the time, my ex-wife at home or whatever. And I've always known my usage probably hasn't been unhealthy. Looking back, at the time, I'm just working for my family, just doing my best. And that involves me being, unfortunately, on one of these things a lot. Yeah. My family have always said you're constantly connected to your phone. Any partners that I've had in the past have always said that you are on your phone quite a lot. My kids have mentioned, look, Dad, you are on your phone quite a bit, aren't you? So I've known subconsciously I've always been on my phone, but I've always countered that with, well, most of the things that I do on this are constructive for me trying to provide a future for me and my family. Yes. So it's an excuse. I look at it now and I think, actually, I can control that better, because what I'm trying to work towards for me and my family is happiness. And happiness for my kids and my partner sometimes is just me being present. It's not about me bringing in X amount of money at the end of the month because I've worked my ass off on the phone trying to sell a load of stuff. It's about being present in the moment and respecting those boundaries. So I think subconsciously I've known, and I think a lot of people listening to this will know they've potentially got a problem with their phone's consumption. But even if it's going towards something that's positively trying to pave a way for your future, for yourself and your family, I mean, that's the excuse. That's what everybody says, isn't it, at the end of the day? But yeah, I think I've always had an issue, and I still think I'm not 100% now. I think there's a better balance there. So we created the prototype 6 months ago. I've been trialing it for 6 months, and we've been refining it. And my screen time's come down from about 9.5 hours a day. 9.5 hours, is it a day when I do the screen time? Yeah, should know that. To about 4.5 hours. So for me, it saved me 5 hours a day. 5 hours that I can invest in other things that matter more than just staring at one of these.
We'll get into what you can do with those 5 hours in a little bit, but before we get there, I want to ask you about that excuse you mentioned about, I'm doing this because it's making money and that's part of the future for my family that I'm trying to create.
Yeah.
How did it feel for you to confront that as actually, this is an excuse, Arran, that you're making, and actually you could do better? Was that a difficult thing to look in the mirror and say to yourself because of the phone being so closely associated with what it is you do for a living?
Yeah, I mean, I sell these things. So
Yes.
perversely, I'm trying to turn people off using these things, but I sell these things as well as other business communications tools. So I think for me, I've always looked at one of these as being a productivity tool, as being something to communicate, as being something to collaborate. And, you can speak to friends, family, whenever you like. And you look at the internet and phones and PCs and tablets these days, especially through COVID, and they probably had a really positive effect on being able to collaborate. But then you look at the other side of it, negative social media, looking at people's lives on Instagram that are not genuinely people's lives, because not everyone drives a Ferrari going to Ibiza. People are just mundane sometimes, and you stay at home for 3 days, lock yourself away and eat too much cereal. Like, that's what people do.
That one was too relatable.
Yeah, mate, 5 bowls a night at like 10:30 for me with chocolate on the top. I'm not even going to go into that, but yeah, very unhealthy. But like, I think with this, it's like, I think the number one, because I've always worked through a business and be relatively successful, I've always looked at this as a productivity tool, where I think maybe as I've grown a bit older, my priorities have changed. I also think that your friends, family and your partner play a big part, because historically, my ex-partner would moan and groan because I'm on my phone too much, whereas Sophie has a different approach to it. She's very flexible and understands I need to work and understands what we bring to the table and understand that partnership. But when it gets too much, she'll just drop a comment, to say, you've been on that loads today. She won't say, Arran, fucking get off your phone, like I've been used to in the past, or what are you doing prioritising work over home life? And it creates this conflict where it's like, well, I'm providing. That's what I'm doing.
So now you've got to defend your position, right?
You've got to defend. You're immediately on the negative, and it's like we're at, it's this argument piece going on, and people listening to this, watching this, everybody's been there. Like, I don't think it's a relationship that hasn't been there, whether it's family, friends, or whatever. Could even be friends in a pub. Like, switch your phone off, mate. We're watching the football, having a pint, having a catch up, and you're just on your phone all the time. So it's like these scenarios, and you make excuses. And my go-to excuse, because I sold these, is, I need to be using, I need to be, collaborating, need to be talking to people, especially running teams and stuff. It's like I've always been in my career the person that's always on.
Yeah.
Always contactable any hour. We'll put the messages and the calls in at 8 p.m. on a Friday because I'm still going. Whereas now, kind of the perception is, it's just a little bit more fluid, a little bit more flexible. My family time is more valued. My partnership with my partner is more valued. It's more understanding of when I need to work, I work. When I don't need to work, maybe just positively remind me. So you said about how did I confront it? I knew it was an issue. I've always known it was an issue. And I had a chat with my partner and said, look, I need you to help me control the amount that I'm on this. So when you think it's too much, you need to tell me.
Okay.
I don't want it in a conflicting way. I don't want an argument. I don't want to shout and scream. I just need you to tell me and say, maybe you're just on that a little bit too much today. That's all I need. And that'll be, if I respect my relationship, that's the switch that I need, just to say, okay, maybe I need to put that on airplane mode.
So when we talk about the problem then of being on your phone too much, I think the aim of this episode is to hold a mirror up to the audience and say, is this you? We're not accusing anyone of it being them, but if it is you, we've got a product here that can solve that. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the product, I think it's well worth delving into a little bit more what the actual problem is with being on your phone, because some people can be on their phone for hours and maybe they're real deep in the excuses. They can really see it as a positive for them.
Yeah.
But what we're here to talk about is, I suppose, the negative side of being on your phone, the mental health implications of it. Being, you mentioned it there, the Ferrari in Ibiza that everyone's driving all the time, and I'm not. Do you know what I mean? My this is a real insight into my life right now. My petrol light came on earlier. No big deal, right? I'm going to get petrol. It's fine. It's just a bit of an inconvenience. And I'm like, where's the Ferrari in Ibiza? Do you know what I mean? So when we talk about mental health, what's your experiences of mental health and the phone in particular? Let's get into that a little bit more.
I think if everyone's being honest, So, they say bad news sells.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, bad news sells. Same as social media. Like like you said, there's this Insta life of what people are meant to be doing. Well, I'm not meant to be doing anything. I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing, and it's me against me. It's not me against Jake Paul or whoever the other guys are that are just shoving stuff around. Not to say they haven't worked for it and they're not successful, because I think everyone would have a piece of that, a piece of prime if they could.
Yeah.
But it's, were you looking at BBC News or you're scrolling through that, it's always negative news, never anything positive, especially if it's sport, because I'm a Liverpool fan at the minute. There's nothing positive in there. Hopefully that will turn around. Come on, Klopp. But if it's shopping for clothes, you're spending money you don't have.
Yep.
Nobody talks about spending money you do have and making yourself feel better with garments and items that might make you feel good about yourself. People will say you're spending too much because you're buying needless things you don't need. If it's gambling, you're wasting money, I never win a bet. What was the first thing that you said to me when I said about gambling? You were like, oh, I don't bet, but when I used to have a little dabble here and there, I've never won a bet in my life.
I've lost every single bet I've ever put on, yeah.
I think you're a very positive person, but immediately it's a negative spin on that particular scenario. Mm-hmm. And you're not alone, I'm not alone. We all have that. So I think that the internet, social media, especially when you're scrolling down, seeing all these great life and people are driving these cars that are probably rented for £2,000 in a day, and that's it, the yachts, the holidays, the kind of standard you have to live up to as a normal guy or girl in this world is 3-4 holidays a year, driving a nice car, earning loads of money, working from home, being flexible, doing whatever you want when you want, and still bringing in £5,000 a month. That's not the reality of 99% of people in the UK. Mm-hmm. It's just not. I don't give a shit what anybody says. It's just not. Most people are working 9-5. They're doing these things. They're just trying to provide for their family. That's just not what it is. It's unhealthy to measure yourself against these people. It takes a very strong person to measure yourself against, to not measure yourself against the stuff that you consume constantly. Mm-hmm. Like, I looked at average screen time in a week and all this sort of stuff. Like, people are spending 5 to 10 hours a day on their phone. And if that's half of that time is consuming negativity, I'll probably say a minimum probably is. Even when you don't know, you're scrolling down, you're consuming stuff in the middle of your mind. Even if you just scrolled through TikToks and stuff, you are subconsciously consuming this, and that is having an effect on how you feel and how you deal with the next problem, or how you feel when you go home to see your partner after work, or how you are with your kids and how much patience you have. Like, there's so many different elements that negatively affect who you are as a person, and sometimes change who you are as a person. Like, I bet you money there's social media, gambling, money issues through buying too many clothes, not meeting deadlines because you've not really been focused enough. You've been on your phone scrolling for hours on TikTok, wasting your time looking at things. I bet you money there are people that just waste their time away, just waste their life away.
I think you made a really, really good point there. A couple of ones I want to pick up on, actually. Changing who we are as people. The pathways in our brains, the neuro pathways, they're changed over time. The generations of instant gratification. If I want something to lift me up now, all I have to do is go on Sofa Sensei's, and one of the reels we've done keeps getting likes. It's just blown up, right? Which feels amazing. Yeah. But inevitably, that will fade away, and then we'll post something that gets like 6 likes, and we're like, what's happened? I thought we were banging.
I thought we were doing it. Yeah.
And then you start comparing yourself to the biggest reel you've ever done, and all these things. So, yeah. But my point is, my brain now, maybe not my brain, but maybe a generalized brain, knows it can go online and find dopamine releases right away. Yeah. But equally, it can find, like you said, negativity sells. It can find things that are going to drag you down right away. Mm. There's a war over here, there's a war over there. This is more expensive, this is bad, this is negative, this is really, really sad. You're right, diet. Now, I see you on Instagram every morning, on it in a nice bath, about 4 degrees? Madness, first of all. I want to try that out.
Anytime, mate. Welcome. Honestly.
Maybe we'll do a little video on that one. And then you do these vlogs of your food and your gym workout. Yeah. So your diet physically is really, really good. But I think what we touched on there, but we haven't said it yet, is diet is also what we consume online, social media, the relationships we have, the emails we send. That's all part of your diet as well, what you're taking in your body, that energy. So let's get to the product now. We've laid the problem out there. Let's get to the product. What is this? Spell it out, and how can it help?
So, like I said, the product's come about probably 12 months ago, which is me struggling with wasting time doing all the things you just said. It might be betting, it might be going into a work meeting and having a phone sat there, and then a notification comes up, and I can't see the notification, but I'm like, something's gone on. You know, maybe it's my partner, maybe it's my daughter. I need to look at it, but I'm in a meeting and I'm meant to be focusing on here. And it's like you're juggling these kind of things. Do I have a look at the phone? That's quite impolite. Or do I listen in a meeting? And I think when you think about all the scenarios you're in, could be a date night. You know, I've had date nights in the past where you just, you know, you've got things buzzing around on your phone and you're kind of more interested in the phone than in the conversation that you're having with your partner. Whether it's going to see your mum and the dad and your family and you're just not in the room. You're nodding, you're saying yes, you're giving everyone a hug, saying you love you, yeah, what have you done with your day? And you're giving them an answer. But you're not there. You're not present. You're not. And I think a lot of business owners, people that have got a lot of stuff on, as well as normal people as well, just struggle with that whole presence thing. Like basketball, what was it? LeBron James took a certain shot, didn't he, over the last couple of months that made him he went up a level in how many points he scored. And the owner of Microsoft, I think it was Microsoft or Dell, was the only person in the crowd watching rather than taking a photo like that. And you saw lights, and then he was just like this, watching. And there's something about that. There's something about being present that's powerful, and that you are taking control of your life, your time, and you're not letting your phone and things that are on your phone consume your time. And it's that sort of control piece. I've always struggled with it, like I said. And I went out and went on eBay, you know, Amazon, online, just searching for stuff, and apps come up that lock down certain things, certain times, and you have to pay for this, or you've got to subscribe to that. And even when you do that, there's ways around it. They don't really lock it down. I've tried going on airplane mode. I've tried keeping my phone upstairs, and then I get FOMO thinking maybe my son or daughter needs to get hold of me. It's not a mature thing to do as a dad to not be contactable at all, but I know I need my separation because it's getting too much. I've tried moving my... This is the worst one. And I thought it would work so much. Like, I look at my app screen now. All of my social media is 5 scrolls that way. Yeah. Thinking that not having to scroll is going to make me less likely to go on those applications. It did for about a day, and then it doesn't now. And I've moved a couple of them back to the front because I want easy access to them, like you said, whether it be posting something about a podcast or checking my likes or whatever the fuck it is. And the reality is that's not important. That don't make people happy. So I wanted something that I could have, not as a soft application, something I can have and hold that is going to be something tangible that can help me control this and therefore win me time and make me more present in my life. And we created the Sillbox. So Sillbox is spelled CYL. It stands for Control Your Life. And it's a time lock box. So we import different parts from different areas of the country, different areas of the world and the country. We put it together in the UK. We personalise it. It comes in over 1,000 different designs. So this one's like a silver wood effect. We've got a gold leaf. There's a marble, another wood one there. You can have fluorescent colours. You can have company logos on it. You could have football stickers on it. You can have whatever you want. It is personalisable in thousands of different ways. You can put initials, names, company bits on it. You can have it monogram, so you could have like a company logo stamped underneath it, so it comes through as like a print. Nice. So you can see it underneath, but it's not like an actual colour. So there's tons of things you can do, and it's a time lock box. You double click the side, the top comes out. You put your phone in it. So let me give you a scenario. You are going into a work meeting. You are having dinner with your family, and you don't want to be on your phone. You want to enjoy it because families don't get together very long. You can put your phone in there, close it down, and then the digital display at the front, you can set a time between 1 minute and 24 hours. You hold down the middle button and it will give you a countdown from 10, and then that box is locked. You ain't getting in it. It's locked. Now, if you're in a position like me, which I've got kids, I can't just throw my phone away and not use it for 2 days just in case they need me. So there's that perforated front that comes off where you can see phone calls coming in. You can make an emergency call. You can answer phones. If you're in the gym, gym's a massive one as well. If you're in the gym, you still want your Bluetooth, but you don't want to spend 10 minutes between each set flicking through TikTok looking at, like we said, looking at athletes that are in much better shape than you.
Because they're not on their phone.
Because they're not on their phone. And you just want to have, when you're working out, you just want that time just to think, I need to get into beast mode. I need to think about me and being a better version of me after this workout, feeling good, having that time. And you don't want to scroll and waste time and do a shitty workout because you've been looking at somebody else's Instagram. You can still do all the Bluetooth, you can still answer phone calls, still make your emergency calls, but the phone is not accessible. And also, it's not visible. That's the big thing. A notification goes off immediately, this generation looks at the phone. Something important. 9 times out of 10, it is not important. How many times have you put your phone in airplane mode for 2 hours, say? And then you look back at your phone and you think, fuck, what have I missed? And then it takes you 2 minutes to catch up because you missed fuck all.
my phone is dry. Nothing's happened. BBC News, breaking news, something I don't care about. And there it is. That's all it is.
Yeah, you're in a lad group. A few pictures have gone through it. You've got and it's like, why am I bothered? But even knowing that your phone is full of nothing for that couple of hours still does not mean that you turn it off. Very few people in this day and age have got the strength, and I bow down to these people that have the strength to just put their phone away in a room and not look at it for 3-4 hours. I have not got the strength to do that. And we did a poll on LinkedIn and Facebook. Over 350 people answered. 92% of those people feel that their phone is a problem. And these are mixture. This is business professionals. This is just Joe Blogs on the street. 92%.
So I suppose my follow-up question to that is it the phone or is it what's on the phone? So
I think it's what's on the phone. And how the phone operates in terms of you being notified of what's on the phone.
Yeah.
Because it's like a reminder. You're not in control of your notifications. You are, because you can set them on or off. But you set them on, and your phone gets... Not many people are going to go into a meal and turn their notifications off of all their apps in all of their settings. Well, it's not going to happen.
Let me give you a real-life example of where I try to be productive and it cost me money. So I turn most notifications off. Most notifications on most apps are off by like messaging and that sort of stuff, right? So all the social medias, I don't get notifications on. I have to go in, and lo and behold, I developed a habit to keep going in all the time. Anyway, Booking.com was one of the apps where it had no notifications on. I booked a hotel in Amsterdam for, pay on this date. Yeah, this is the one I want, but I'll pay on this date. I get an email in the morning of the next day to say your hotel's been cancelled. Right. I'm like, what? Wait, what did you cancel my hotel for? I go in the app and they'd notified me twice that, next week you got to pay. Don't forget. You got to pay tomorrow, don't forget. And obviously, I'm not seeing these notifications because I'm not on the app and it doesn't give me push notifications. So I had to pay £100 more for the same rooms at the same time. And that made me really frustrated with the idea that I'm trying to remove all these things from my life. But ultimately, sometimes you miss a trick, right? And actually, if I'd have just planned my time better and maybe spent a little bit less time on the phone, because the phone is a huge distraction, and to be honest with you, I spend time on the phone doing the wrong things rather than the right things, like paying for hotels that I booked, then I wouldn't have met that problem, and I had to just firm the £100 difference and move on. But yeah, this is a really interesting one because I've tried apps, or I've tried timers on apps, right? So Instagram every day is an hour. My thumb knows the pattern of 1 more minute, 15 more minutes, 15 more minutes, and in the end I spent about 2 hours on the app, right? And then we're talking about Twitter's an hour and a half because I prefer Twitter, but same way I know the habit of clicking dismiss and so on and so forth. So the apps aren't working for me. The only thing that does ever work when I need to go away from my phone is literally leaving it in another room. And then you're right, there's a twitch inside of me, there's the angst.
Who needs me?
Yeah, who needs me?
It's a bit of FOMO, isn't it? Yeah.
So this product feels like it ticks off both of those problems for me, in the sense that the phone can be in the room with me and accessible if I would ever meet an emergency or need for the phone. But equally, I can't see the things that are going to capture my attention most. So I suppose the question is, what are the different type of use cases you can think of for this product? Because you're a businessman.
Yep.
Who else might benefit from
be.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, successfully, I may add. This is a lovely place.
Potentially.
Yeah. So yeah, what are the different types of use cases? We spoke about them earlier. So talking students.
Yeah, like if you think about, I think knowing about the concept of the product is really important, because everybody listening and watching this will understand their version of what they think they can use it for.
Yeah, okay.
And everybody is different. Not everybody is going to be ticking every box. But if you just think about some of the main ones that we're looking at, let's say university students. Again, my 17-year-old daughter, when she's doing college work, stuff like that, she'll go and have a look, like the emails for her college, the PDF she needs to look at to understand what she needs to do for her project are on the phone. But what's also on the phone is Snapchat poking up at the top and all this stuff. And actually, like, I'll leave her for 5 minutes. I'll walk back in the room because I've been to the toilet, and she's on Snapchat again. It's that attention span just goes. So it's like, if you think about you're a student and you really need to get your head down and meet a deadline, just print out what you need, have your laptop, do what you need to do for your project, lock your phone away for 2 hours, and you've got focused time to meet your deadline, and just get cracking with what you're doing. Meaning you're not diluting your time, finishing at 4 a.m. because you've had a half an hour break on your phone, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. You can still be contacted with these things anyway. It just means you don't have the choice of picking up your phone and going on Snapchat or TikTok looking at absolute rubbish when you should be studying for a test or producing that bit of work. Work meetings. How many times you go into a work meeting, absolutely hate it, and you see everybody's phone on the desk? Why? Because they think they're very important, that something's going to happen and they have to pick the phone up. And they're not. And immediately what it gives for you in that meeting is, this phone is more important than whatever the hell's going on in this meeting. That's what, if somebody brings a phone into one of my meetings and does this, puts it the other way, that winds me up even more. Because it's like, if it wasn't important, it wouldn't be out. You wouldn't have it. So why are you turning it the other way? Because within 5 minutes, you're going to get bored with something that's being said, and you're going to go like that.
Yeah.
Or you're going to go like this.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do, and you're going to be immediate. Your attention is not in the room, so you're not paying attention to what's happening in the meeting. You're not present. It's not just about listening in business meetings. It's about adding value. How can I add value? How can I understand the concept? How can I improve this particular service level or whatever it is? So it's like business meetings. It's about being present and focusing on what's happening in the meeting, not things that are ticking off on your phone. If someone's got a betting problem, I like to have a little bet every now and again on football. Very rarely win. I had a nice winner last weekend, actually. 500-600 quid, which is great, but that's the first winner I've had in like 3 months. So I'm not going to tell you whether I'm up or down, but I'm probably down. But betting, if you know you've got a betting issue, yes, you can lock yourself out of the apps, but you can ring your friend to go and put a bet on for a tenner. You can transfer, you can do all those things. And it all happens on a phone, by the way. If you know you've got a betting issue on Saturday morning when you know that games are starting at 3, and you've gone walk the dog at 10, 11 o'clock, you know that team news is about to deliver with your early kickoffs and stuff, just box your phone for 3 hours. You haven't got an ability to place a bet. Because people have betting addictions, as addictions to doing tons of different things that they do. An addiction to social media. Addiction to spending hours flicking through TikTok of useless fucking videos that everybody does, and you just waste a load of time. And it's like, what else could you be doing with that hour? You could go and have a run, you could have a workout, you could read a book, you could spend time with your loved ones, you could go and do something completely new. You could organise what you're doing for the day better, plan better, or you could work, or whatever it is that you want to do. I'm not telling people how to live. You can do all those things. You want to go to the gym. Most people go to the gym and you do a weight set or you do an activity and you need a minute break before kind of getting the energy physically and mentally to go and do that set again. Most people you see in the gym are doing this. And they're not waiting for a minute, because that's all you need between sets. People will spend 2 hours in the gym because they're on that for 15 minutes and then time's gone. You've lost that time and you're not working out focused on your workout. You're not honed in trying to get into beast mode and do that workout, lift that weight, make sure your repetitions are good, make sure you're counting what you're doing, make sure that your posture's right. You're thinking about the notification that I need to respond to in 2 minutes because you're having a conversation on Instagram with your partner's mate or whatever the scenario is. But you can listen to your music via Bluetooth here, but you can't get on your phone. You can do your emergency stuff, but you can't get on your phone. You're not going to get notified until you've unlocked it after your hour in the gym that you lock it for, and then you can go and deal with the stuff that you think is so important, but you could just deal with it after. It's not that important, really. Yeah. If it was, they'd have called. All these different scenarios that you've got, whether it be work, personal life, sport, gym, kids. Freddie, my son, he's on his phone all the time, on his tablet all the time. And don't get me wrong, there's bigger versions of this that's coming for tablets, laptops and stuff. Family versions where you can put multiple things in for dinner, for example. And that's another one. But like Freddie, my son, he's on Fortnite all the time. He's on games constantly. Like, he'll waste probably a couple of hours a day on games. And it's like, as much as you don't mind your son and your kids being on a game every now and again. And adults do it as well. Like, there's people in the businesses that we've got here that will spend their lunch just playing on Football Manager. I mean, I've never got that shit. I think it's a waste of time, but that might be important to them.
Yeah.
But it's like being able to control when you're on this stuff and not wasting your time. You go on a date night. How many people have got the strength to not take their phone on a date night? Minimal. How many people go and see a family for dinner and get moaned at with your mum and dad because you're on your phone too much, watching YouTube, or having a look at Instagram, having a conversation with someone, or WhatsApping people, and all your mum and dad want is your time because you only see them once a week for 2 hours and they want your time.
Yeah.
And how bad do you feel when they pick you up on it? Or defensive, depending on how open-minded you are.
Yeah.
It's about the concept of controlling your time, because once that time is spent, it's a currency you ain't going to get back. It's not like a credit card. You cannot get that money. You can't get that time back. It's gone. Once you've pissed off a family member or a friend or yourself or your partner, or you've not been listening in a work meeting, you can't get these things back. And it makes you look shit, and it makes you feel bad if you care about what people think or what you think.
You just see me making notes there because you said loads of things I want to pick up on. First of all, you mentioned about time, you're not going to get it back. And this is before our friends die, and it's about having conversations we want to have before we leave this planet. This is all about the urgency of now.
Yep.
We have this conversation, and this conversation will last forever thanks to the beauty of technology.
Yep.
But this time won't. Mm-hmm. This time goes. And Rachel and I, we had to challenge ourselves. What are the type of conversations we want to have on this platform, because we know our time is limited. And now people can look at that morbidly and say, oh, talking about death. But reality is time is finite.
It's gonna
so
happen
let's
to everybody.
maximize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that really resonates with the show. That message of what are you doing with your time, and could you be using it better? And is this a mechanism by which you could use your time better? Love that.
I think also if everybody is honest with themselves, and I'm an honest guy, right or wrong. If everyone's honest with themselves, the majority of people would say they probably spend too much time on their phone, and they don't have control. And the people that say they have control probably don't, and they're probably just lying to themselves, and they're not mature enough to holistically look at the situation like you are to say, do you know what, Aaron? I do struggle with that, and I probably do spend too much time on my phone. Most people haven't got the honesty to do that.
Yeah.
I think most people, if they were in the mirror and they had to be honest, would say they spend way too much time on one of these things.
Now, I'm going to give you, we spoke about this earlier, but for the listeners' benefit, I'll speak about at the end of the month, it's my birthday, and I have booked 2 days away in a cabin, countryside, no distractions, and the commitment between me and my girlfriend is no phones.
Is that for me and you?
Yeah, please please join me. No phones,
Yeah.
no phones. That's the deal. Phone's going to go on airplane mode. I haven't thought about the emergency thing if people need to contact me, but hopefully 2 days will be okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll get one of these products from you, please.
Maybe.
The other thing though is photos. So I spoke to my girlfriend. She was like, "Oh well, I want to take pictures." So I was like, "Okay, I hear that. That's a fair, challenge to make to that suggestion from me. So I'm going to buy disposable cameras, and then we're going to print them out. So that's it's an analog experience rather than a digital experience, because I feel like that takes away something of the soul of the experience of being in the room, being present, is taken away when we're on our phones and we're on this app, we're on that app. And even if we're taking pictures, I'm going to swipe from the top and see what my notifications are, or see who's messaged me or whatever.
Yeah.
No one, as we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
But I want to see it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's really important. It's really pertinent, actually, that we're having this conversation, because I'm trying to get away from my phone a little bit more.
Yeah.
I see the way it drains a certain type of my energy. And then when it comes to real life social occasions, I'm a little bit drained because I've been on my phone looking at someone arguing on Twitter over some shit I don't care about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting, and I really love the product because of that. And actually, if you'd have told me about a week ago, I could have maybe been a bit less drastic with my proposal about no phones.
Mate, take a couple.
Yeah.
See how you get on.
Yeah. What I do want to challenge you on, though, is I suppose the concept a little bit, because locking away a phone, and we mentioned this earlier, is it the phone or is it what's on the phone? Twitter is also available on a web browser or on an iPad or whatever. But what I will say, and I'll challenge you and then defend it, is because Twitter is shit on a laptop. Terrible experience. And the way they designed these phones is to make it the most immersive experience possible.
Easy.
That's the whole... So, TikTok, I'm sure you can get on a web browser. I don't actually know. Yep. But like Facebook, you definitely can. Facebook's rubbish on the laptop. It's better on the phone. All these things are better on the phone. They're optimized for the phone. So getting rid of the phone is a great way of removing your connectedness to those things that are wasting your time.
Yep.
However, having said that last sentence around wasting time, I want to challenge that a little bit. And to be fair, you answered it earlier in terms of some people like Football Manager, you don't. For them, it might not be a waste of time. For you, it might be.
Yeah.
That, I think, is going to be something that people are going to want to wrestle with within themselves. What is spending the right time on the right things in the right way? And I think that's a real personal question for the listeners, but I think it's one that's going to challenge us anyway, because I may make an argument that, I don't know, spending time on my phone when I'm really tired after a long day at work is just mindless time, and actually it's a good rest.
Yeah.
But if I really critically look at myself, during those scrolling moments, I'm probably investing a little bit too much emotionally in some of the arguments that I see online that I actually shouldn't and don't care about.
Yeah.
And that is a waste of energy. And I think that's a real personal thing I've got to have, a conversation I've got to have with myself. Sometimes I click on comments and I'm like, oh, this is quite interesting. What's going on? Read more comments.
Yeah.
Oh, what? He said that. I can't believe... That's a way... I don't care about that.
Yeah.
It feels good in the moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know if long term it's actually that good. And you can tell right now, I'm not settled on one side of the debate or the other.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really interesting one. So listeners, if you are interested in what do you feel might not be a waste of time, but you have to challenge yourself, maybe it is. Drop us in the comments, let us know. What about you? Do you ever spend time on your phone where you think it's a good thing, but if you're really critically reflective, it might just be a waste of time?
Yeah. Like if I film a video, my dog being an idiot, my son, about to take a penalty, for example. I'm just thinking of scenarios. I'll then film it, not watch it. I'm watching it through a lens.
Yeah.
Don't film it. Don't experience the moment of the joy of him scoring or whatever. I'll then spend 10 minutes when I get home editing the video to then put it online for who?
Yeah.
For who? For everybody else to look at. Why? Why is that important? They ain't interested in my son. That I'm interested in my son. So why am I not just watching the video? Why am I not just watching him take a penalty?
The moment, yeah.
And that really for me, but like I said, it's not, the product is not something that we're looking to throw down people's throats to say you have to go and do this.
Yes.
It's a concept.
Yeah.
There is something there now that can help you control your usage of your applications and your phone, regardless of what, because the phone in itself isn't the problem. The phone is the vessel.
Yeah.
And you said there about there's certain apps, you could lock your phone away, but I think what you're alluding to is to challenge the argument would be, well, you can get this stuff on a laptop, for example. And it's like, okay.
It's not the same.
Think about that. It's not the same, number one, but it might be the same. But again, what do you carry around with you every day? When was the last time you walked out in your day, other than if you're going to work, and you'll always take this. Yeah. I would say probably 99.9% recurring amount of time. When was the last time you walked out with your tablet and your laptop? And you were wanting to get that out, like you said about ease, this don't need charging. It's already charged. You've charged it overnight. Your laptop might be charged, it might not be, but you might need a lead. You might need some bits to put into it. Yep. Your tablet's a bit more accessible because it's a little bit smaller, it's tidier. But again, you're not going to go to the pub and go and bang out your tablet or your laptop. But you will do this.
You'd get ripped if you did, by the way.
Rightly so. Rightly so. But it's like, this is and like I said, there are going to be other variants of this coming out, which are going to look at tablet for kids mainly, because kids are on tablets all the time, going through YouTube videos, maybe looking at stuff they shouldn't be looking at and all that stuff. There's going to be a family version, which is going to basically be a little bit bigger, which for like a dinner time, you can put 4 or 5 different items in and just lock them all away for that hour, have some nice time with your family, have dinner, clear up, and then you can give the devices back. But the phone is arguably the biggest problem out of those 3 devices, which is why we've kind of looked at that. And it depends what people want to take away from it. Like you said, it's a tremendous, I've given you maybe 7 or 8, 10 different scenarios around different verticals, different problems people have, whether it be social media, gambling, all this stuff. It all comes down to that individual. Yeah. People listening to this now will be like, well, the gambling thing doesn't appeal to me. I don't have a betting account. But I do scroll on social media. Yeah. And it's kind of, the concept that we want people to understand is, the concept is that your mental health will suffer and your happiness will suffer by not being in the moment. And if you're not in the moment, it's not as a pleasurable experience as what it could be. Well, we're going to give you a product that can help you in doing that. And how you use it is down to you. In what scenarios you want to pop that SIL box out is absolutely down to you. What you want to have it looking like, what you want to have on it, it's all down to you. And the reason why we've had it completely customizable is because the concept is completely customizable. Have it looking, have your name on it, have a company logo on it, have it wrapped in gold leaf, have it wrapped in vinyl, have it wrapped in carbon fibre, have a fluorescent colour for your kid, have a Liverpool logo on it, whatever. Do what you want, because how you use it is down to you. Because what inherently someone will do is they'll look at a phone and think, what's my biggest problem? Yeah. My kids are on it too much. Okay, I'm going to put it in the SIL box between 7 and 9. I'm working too much. Okay, I'm going to have 2-3 periods of the week where I'm going to lock it away for 2 hours so I can go and focus on, going for a walk with the dog with my partner. I go on a date night every week, so I'm going to make sure it's in the SIL box for 3 hours on that night every single night. People will they'll take their own scenarios and think, okay, how can I adapt the product to this scenario? But the reality is, it's just making this not accessible, meaning that it can be personalised for anybody, for any scenario.
So I'm going to bring in someone who basically is a persistent guest on this show, James Clear. Read his book Atomic Habits, and it's a great book about basically maximizing, optimizing your life in terms of productivity. Yep. I have my own challenges with the whole productivity conversations, because sometimes they're a bit like, work is everything. But I feel like James Clear has some really strong points in terms of, if you want to make a habit something that you continue to do, you got to make the route to it easy. Mm-hmm. So it might be, for instance, if I want to take my vitamins in the morning and I know I have tea every morning, I need to put my vitamins next to my tea. Yep. Because when I go for the tea bag, I'll see the vitamins, I'll take the vitamins, at the same time I get the tea bag. If I put it out the back, I'm going to forget they're there, and they're going to stay there, not be used. Yeah. Bit like meal prep. Exactly that, yeah.
Prime example, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. You want to make it ready and reduce friction. Yeah. With this particular scenario, it's about increasing friction. Putting it in a box. That box cannot be opened until the timer is up. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's a secret to be revealed. You have access to the emergency features you need. and you have access to the real bare minimum that you would need in any event.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a real solid methodology behind what you're doing. And I think we can all look a little bit inward. I certainly can, and see times when, do you know what? I've made my phone a little bit too accessible in times when I perhaps shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And then my next question for you now is about presence. When are you most present?
When I'm interested in something, or if it means something to me. So I'm really passionate about this product. I'm really passionate that it gets given the platform it deserves, because I think it can make a difference. I'm not interested in whether we make any money or not make any money. If we sell 1,000 of these, that's 1,000 people that have the ability to get time back with their families and feel better in their own self for a variety of different reasons. Looks after their mental well-being, gives them more time and presence. What is there more powerful? You know, I'm 100% in this conversation. That would be in one of these boxes if I wasn't picking it up and demonstrating it to you. So it's like, there is nothing more powerful than that. So what makes me present is when I'm engaged in something deeply and I value that time with that person. I know how you holistically look at things, how you look at things in detail, how you analyze situations. So I'm intently interested in this conversation. One, because I think the product's a great product and I think it helps people. And two, because I want to make sure I do the product what it deserves in terms of the methodology behind it. And I know the way that you guys operate, and I want to make sure I give you all the information you want. So I'm intently listening to your questions and wanting to answer them. If I wasn't that interested, I might be thinking about the Sunday dinner I'm going to have. Oh, parsnips, lovely. And that might be 2% of my thought process, meaning that my answer is just not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
For me, it's about interest, value, and just the quality of the conversation.
So one of the things I want to pick up on is kids. So I think as adults...
Don't have them. It's very hard.
There's the info there. There's the real takeaway.
Snip that one.
When we talk about children and their use of phones, look, are you all right to reveal your age? Yeah? How old are you?
I'm 35.
Cool. I'm 25. And I grew up maybe 20% in the analog era, 80% in the digital era. I'd gather you're about 50-50, right? You know what life was like as a teenager pre-digital age.
Yeah, in terms of like internet.
You weren't on your phone was...
My phone had buttons on it with no screen.
Do you know what I'm saying? My phones were shit. Like, I had a 2-megapixel camera and that was the best one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the era. But kids now have access to everything right away. Yeah. There is no building phase. There is no tower where you turn it on with your big toe and you're waiting for it to load up and you've got the dial up in the background, right? There's none of that scenario. You have access to it right away.
Yeah.
I'm driving a service car right now. My nephew got in it. I saw him 2 days later. He told me how much the car cost, all the specs on the car, because he Googled it right away as soon as he got home. As soon as he had access to Wi-Fi on his smartphone, he Googled it, told me the price. He was immersed in the car.
Yeah.
That's useful, right? It's inquisitive. It's a great use of his skill. But also, he's only like 10. What if he has access to the price of cars? What else does he have access to that isn't so positive?
He's also not really thinking about anything.
No.
He's just operating.
You just input, output. There's no
What would you have done to find that out previously? Ring the dealer.
Yeah. Create a relationship.
Go speak to the dealer. Go see them.
Yeah.
And what does that do? Build your skills on the phone.
Yes.
Confidence.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Didn't think of that. And I think, I don't know. I don't know what it does. And I think maybe in 20 years we'll realize what we've done, right? And ChatGPT is another thing now. I mean, you could put your name to something that you had no role in creating, which is wild.
I asked ChatGPT a question a month ago, just quite a detailed, what I was expecting, like a detailed answer.
Yeah.
If you run a business that's struggling, what are your options to turn it around? And it gave me, within 15 seconds, this is just a free ChatGPT. I think you get 5 questions, don't you, when you download it or whatever. And I got a 6-paragraph answer that was probably 1, 2, 3 scrolls, maybe 4 scrolls long. So I don't know how many characters that is, but a big detailed answer. And actually, when you look at the answers, I would think 4 of those are credible answers of what you need to do. They weren't bullshit answers. Go get advice. Oh yeah, go get advice. That's not telling me anything. No one needs to go and get advice because I'm in the shit. But it was like hypothetical question. It was like I actually got value out of that.
Yes.
And I was thinking, what's that? That's great that that's at my fingertips. But what's that gonna? What are the downsides of that? And like you said, you won't have potentially have the interaction with an individual to ask and learn. And, we run sales is huge in our companies, right? If you don't have sales, you've got nothing. And if we'd have done, let's say we go for a sales meeting, the sales process is we always want to try and get face-to-face with the client. Why? Because we're in their office. We know what communications they've got. We see it. We can hear it. We can understand it. We can take pictures. We can understand the wiring, the setup, why the system doesn't work from the first-hand experience. We can listen to moaning in the background. We can, we're in their environment, so we can understand the culture of their company, the individual I've got in front of me and who he is, what job he does, what makes him tick and what type of person he is. That is the best case scenario for me to go and win that business, because I can understand and just soak everything up like a sponge. I'll come away, produce my proposal, understand the individual, tailor my sales process very bespoke to that particular person of how he buys, whether he can make the decision, whether he's senior, a board member, the MD, an IT manager. You have to deal with these people differently. I can't do that on a video. On a video is the second stage down. It's like I can see some stuff. There might be a fake background, so maybe he's working from home and he doesn't have a good office setup. I can kind of... But you're struggling to immerse yourself in understanding like a quality takeaway. Even before that, then you've got a phone call. Phone call is even worse than a video. Video is worse than a face-to-face. Face-to-face is the god. You get everything from it. And then before a call, it's an email. You get fuck all from an email. You see a signature and you can see some information of who he is, and then you do some research on social media of who these people are. But it's like going face-to-face, you're learning more, you're getting more out of it, they get more out of it, you put face to names, you can soak up all this information. But it forces you to go and do that and round yourself as a good human being that can conversate, that can get on, rapport build, all these great things. And it's like, in this day and age, you've got GPT where you don't have to see anybody. You don't have to meet with an entrepreneur who's done it. You don't have to listen to podcasts. You don't have to learn anything. Yeah. You just ask it a question, it tells you an answer, and you think that's a viable, credible answer. It might be, but it also might be a load of shit. How can you vet the shit from not shit? And that's why I think the AI is scary, because in 10 years, all youth's decisions will be made on AI.
Yep.
That's the problem. And it's like, well, who's writing this AI? Are they credible?
Yes.
I don't know the answers to these questions, but it makes you think.
Yeah. And that's a solid thing. I think for me, the biggest fear around AI, and we'll get back to the product in a second, I promise you. The biggest fear around AI is around when it becomes, you can't separate the shit from the truth. One day, because we've recorded so much content between us, our voices are going to be replicable, and we could say anything, and it wouldn't actually be us saying it. The AI would be saying it. That's the scary thing. Anyway, I'll move on. I want to get to two final questions, if I may. The first one is around, okay, so we've used the product now. We like the product. We needed to spend less time on our phone. We've now got that spare time. What do you do with it as Arran? Because I'll give you my examples. I really enjoy being present and in the moment. I think it's really important too. I struggle with it at times, but one of the methods that I use is journaling. So I write most days in my journal, what's happened throughout the day, how I felt about it, and what it allows me to do is just dump those feelings and whatever else on the page, and I can move on, which means in the next scenario, I'm present. I'm not holding on to what was in my memory and in my brain. I've let that go on the page. Now I'm back in the room. I found it really useful when I was traveling as well, because I didn't have to remember, oh yeah, I saw this guy and he said this to me, and I wrote that down, moved on. I'm now in an amazing place and I'm so grateful to be here. That's what I do. Not all the time, but sometimes. What about you? What do you do to be present?
So I'm not disciplined enough to do that. So just being honest. So, and I've tried it and I've really struggled, and it actually got me down a bit that I wasn't sticking to it. You know what I mean? But I did see a benefit in it. I think for me, I do lead quite a hectic life. My mum and dad are always like, I don't know, you got so much stuff going on all the time, you're spinning so many plates. For me, I'm very task orientated. I go from one task to another, one task to another, one task to another, whether it be personal or professional. I just want to be busy. So for me, it means that I can be busier. Some people might think that's counterproductive in terms of your mental state. But for me, I struggle when I've got nothing to do. My partner can chill and just watch the telly for 4 hours, and that's okay. I can't. I'm sitting there after an hour thinking, I'm wasting my time.
All right, let's move on now.
I'm thinking I could be watching something I'm learning from. I could be editing the website for something. I could be thinking about the next product for one of my businesses. I could be thinking about how I can develop my leadership team to be better leaders. I could be watching content that motivates me to be a better person. And that's not that I don't value spending time at home and all that sort of stuff, but for me, it can get a little bit samey when it comes to sort of those predictable things like, oh, you haven't got a job, you wake up in the morning, you watch Jeremy Kyle, you don't now, but you watch Jeremy Kyle, you watch this morning, it's like, what are you actually getting from that? Just a load of crap. You're not moving forward. And for me, that's the most frustrating time. So what I fill my time with is, I really enjoy working out at the moment. It's got me a year and a half to get my garage gym the way I want it. I built it up because I'm not a millionaire. I don't have loads of cash. I built it up with secondhand things off of Facebook Marketplace, some new stuff, offcuts of the lawn that I had put out the back, put into the garage. I invested in my ice bath, so I'm doing that every single time I've done a gym session since I got the gym operational from the beginning of January. Every gym session is followed by an ice bath every single time. I'm scared of water. I don't like going under, and cold water is fucking horrible. There's no one does ice baths that enjoys it. It's fucking horrible experience, and I want to test myself, challenge myself. So perversely, I came up with an idea in January that, and this is going to sound a bit wrong, so I might not be using the right wording, but this is the wording that was in my head, is I wanted to torture myself to a degree to see what I'm capable of. And I wanted to fill my time with that. What can I do in the gym? How long can I spend in that ice bath that's going to really, because if I can do that 8 a.m. in the morning, no matter what happens to me at work, personally, I've done my biggest fear, which is immersing myself in something that's 3-4 degrees and sitting in it for 5 minutes. I've already accomplished my biggest fear already. And you haven't even got up yet. And I've done a gym session, and I've walked the dog, and I'm on the way to go and have a great day. And no matter what that day happens, I've already, even if that day was a complete write-off and did fuck all and I didn't make any progress, I still progressed, and that makes me feel good. So I spend my present time, and I've got a new daughter now, Delilah, she's 10 weeks old, just sitting watching her. Just her faces, her mannerisms. I never did that with my other 2 kids, and I regret it. And I've gone to every appointment this time, every single health visitor appointment, every single scan, every single appointment where I'm not even needed. I've been at every single one with no phone. I haven't taken any pictures. None. Nothing. I want to remember it for being there, not remember it from looking at pictures. So that's what I spend my time doing at the moment. Is I'm really, really trying to fill my time with enjoying family time with my kids, with my partner, with my dog, and also stuff that makes me feel better mentally, which is doing 3-4 workouts a week, doing my ice baths, and just generally staying busy, but not overloading it. So I'm busy to a point where my heart's going to stop, because I've also been guilty of doing that in the past as well.
I want to pick up on a few things there. First of all, shout out Delilah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is a massive moment in life.
He shoots, he scores.
The second thing I want to pick up on is around, you mentioned, your first 2 children and how you regretted not being there.
Yeah.
And I think that is perfect for you to say, and thank you for being so honest, because for any listeners out there, it shows progression in the journey. Arran wasn't born someone who knows phones aren't good, I'm going to create a product and I'm going to get rid of my phone. I'm going to be, you went on a journey where you through experience, you thought, actually, I didn't want to be like that. And one of James Clear's quotes is around, make sure every act is a vote for the type of person you want to be.
Yeah.
So then you look back on your previous actions and said, actually, I don't want to be that type of person, so I'm going to move on. I'm going to change my actions to change who I want to be. Same with the ice bath is really, really powerful as well. Like you say, getting in there in the morning, when you don't want to do it, when it's scary, when it's difficult, when it's challenging, is a vote for the type of person being tough, resilient, and ready for anything.
Yeah.
That is powerful, and that is a powerful message. And I think for our listeners, if you take anything away from today, let it be that where you are today is not necessarily where you're always going to be.
Yeah.
There are certainly things you can take away from this conversation and this product in particular that can open capacity for your future. It may be journaling. It may be an ice bath. It may be a more productive workout. It may just be reflecting on who you are and who you want to be, and then making that happen. Final question. If people are interested in this product, where do they go?
You can go on the website. It's www.sylbox.co.uk, and that's cylbox.co.uk. Or you can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And I believe the accounts are Control Your Life 2023. But we can tag them in when this goes out, if that's okay.
All details will be in the description below. Final thing, where can people find out more about you?
More about me, blimey. If you want to find out more about me, you can. Normal social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I don't do much on Twitter though. TikTok, LinkedIn, just by searching my name, Arran Kirton, ARRANKIRTON. If you're interested in finding a bit about my journey in particular, I also do a podcast called The Silent Entrepreneur.
Great one, by the way.
Which you can find again on all of those different social medias as well. So social medias are all open, so you can hit me up with a DM or have a conversation, pick the phone up whenever you like.
Love that. That has been Before Our Friends Die on the akhi&saltfish Digital Network. You've been joined by me, Kavan, and our special guest, Arran. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your product with us. We love it. I'm going to try it at my birthday getaway because I need to get away from my phone. Listen, this is the akhi&saltfish Digital Network, and of course, you can find us on social media at Before Our Friends Die Pod or at akhi&saltfish on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all those great things that I need to use less of. Listen, if you want to get in touch with us, leave any questions or comments, please do drop a comment in the video below. But also, don't forget you can email us any questions for guests or us at akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. This has been Before Our Friends Die. I've been Kavan. Take care.